There were several positives for the Boston Bruins from a big win over New Jersey, but as usual, none bigger than the continued dominance of David Pastrnak.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked B. Today is Wednesday, April 9th. Thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. It's available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Everydayers will know that you can also follow the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins. You can find me, my hockey thoughts, dad jokes at Ian C. McLaren. I am a lifelong Boston Bruins fan. I've been covering this team for various outlets for 20 years now. Was a full-time hockey news editor for thescore.com and have been hosting this podcast since 2019. Today, we're going to discuss last night's win over the New Jersey Devils and an unexpected touchdown from the Bruins in that one. Touch on David Pasternak's continued dominance, some other milestones and firsts, as well as the Bruins nominee for the Masterton Trophy. But the biggest story all season long has been the dominance of David Pastrnak. It's, let's be honest, the lost season for this team, but this guy with a very depleted supporting cast was able to hit 100 points for the third straight season. And he also now leads the NHL in points at 5-on-5 with 62, 4 clear of Nikita Kucherov. The Bruins power play has been abysmal all season long. That's where some of the game's top players get a real boost in terms of points. But Pasta now up to 41 goals on the season. And he's also been very instrumental in boosting Morgan Geekie to his 30 goal total so far this season. Pastrnak has been as good as anybody around the NHL this season. The Bruins are out of the playoff race, of course, but he should still get some love as NHL MVP because of how important he is to this team. He's scoring goals, 41. That is the fourth highest total of his career to date. He had 47 last year, 61, 48 in 2019-20. He's got 59 assists, which is 4 shy of his career high, which was set last year. So even though he's not putting the puck in the net as much right off his stick, he's still been instrumental in, again, boosting his teammates and getting Morgan Geekie to that lofty total of 30 goals, which really nobody expected. When it comes to total points, again, at 5-on-5, this is according to Natural Stat Trick. David Pastrnak leads the way with 62. And when it comes to primary assists, he's also been dominant as well with a total of, as my computer catches up here, he's been so good this season. That's the main takeaway here for the Boston Bruins. When it comes to putting Morgan Geekie in line for just a huge payday, bigger than expected payday. Don't forget, Geekie had been scratched often in the earliest stages of this season. And coming back to that first assist thing, David Pastrnak leads the NHL with 28 primary assists at 5-on-5, which is pretty incredible. That means he is the guy feeding the beneficiary, and he has been just dominating in terms of dishing it out and helping Morgan Geekie reach these high levels of scoring. Now, as I've mentioned before, Morgan Geekie's shooting percentage is very elevated at 20%, which is perhaps unsustainable moving forward. Hopefully the Bruins do, and I believe they will, keep that in mind as they look to extend him in the offseason. But David Pastrnak is just the third Bruin in franchise history to post at least 3 consecutive 100-point seasons alongside Bobby Orr and Phil Esposito. He's the lone Czech-born player in NHL history to post 3 straight 100-point seasons, which pretty remarkable considering, of course, Jaromir Jagr is Czech-born. And again, he's not going to be a finalist per se because the Bruins are not in the playoff hunt. But when it comes to getting some Hart Trophy love, he should be front of mind for sure. Now, not only that, but last night, Pastrnak had factored into 13 consecutive Bruins goals. An absurd stretch that began on April 1st and spanned 5 total games. So over that span, there were 13 goals scored by the Bruins that Pastrnak either scored or had a direct hand in. That's not just a Bruins franchise record, but it's the longest streak orchestrated by an NHL player since Jagr, who had a hand in 15 straight goals with the Penguins in 1999. The only players in NHL history to play a part in 13 or more consecutive goals for their team, and this is according to Connor Ryan of Boston.com, that Jagr streak in 99, Mario Lemieux had 14 in 1989 and 13 in 1998, and Wayne Gretzky, 13 in 1991. So we talk a lot about Alexander Ovechkin breaking Gretzky's record. Here we have our boy David Pastrnak tying a Gretzky record by factoring in on 13 consecutive goals for the Boston Bruins. Just unbelievable. 100-point season on a Bruins roster that was underachieving early the season, that has been depleted since the trade deadline, and with a 29th ranked power play is unbelievable. And it shows in the fact that he leads the NHL in scoring at 5-on-5, where the majority of the game is played. So just an unbelievable season. And you also factor in that he is 47 points over the team's second leading scorer, who is now Morgan Geekie at 53 points. Most other superstars around the league have a lot more help than Pastrnak has. You look at, of course, in Edmonton, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. You look in Colorado, Nathan McKinnon has Cale Makar, had Mikko Rantanen before him. Nikita Kucherov, he's boosted by Braden Point, who's got 40 goals as well. So these star players who are likely going to be finalists for the Hart Trophy, your Nathan McKinnon, Leon Draisaitl, Nikita Kucherov, they all have significantly more help than David Pastrnak does. And in my mind, he should certainly be at least in the top 5 here when it comes to Hart Trophy voting. Now, Pastrnak was not the only story in last night's game. There were some firsts, some milestones that were reached in this surprising victory over the Devils. We'll discuss that, plus the tank update and the Bruins nominee for the Masterton Trophy here as the podcast continues. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep feeling fuller longer. I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. Get snacking, get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Thank you so much once again for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. Special shout out to everydayers. I very much appreciate your support. To become one, please do hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube so that you will never miss a thing. Now, the Bruins last night beating the New Jersey Devils by a score of 7-2. Just to touch back on Pastrnak, he said he doesn't take it for granted, the fact that he reached 100 points. Hard to score in this league. Tough to, just keep that going consistently. He said he was happy that they got the win, hopes they can finish the season with good games, make sure they finish strong, and try to build something moving forward. And to that end, there were some very encouraging contributions and performances from some guys who will be fighting for roster spots next season. I should add, Pastrnak had at least 3 points for the third straight game. And again, just unbelievable. The NHL.com write-up mistakenly said the Bruins captain extended his point streak to 7 games. That's probably a sign of things to come. Not quite there. Now, here's some other things that happened last night. Michael Callahan scored his first goal of his NHL career. Fraser Minten had his first goal in black and gold. Jacob Lauko had his first goal back with the Boston Bruins. And Fabian Lysell also had his first point for the Boston Bruins. Other guys chipping in, I mentioned Morgan Geekie getting his first 30-goal season. Casey Middlestat scored as well. And the Bruins just getting contributions up and down the lineup. I thought Fabian Lysell played particularly well, one of his better games with the Bruins. And again, it takes time for these guys to adapt to the NHL game, to figure out where they fit in, to deal with the expectations that come with that kind of recall. I thought he showed some very positive adjustments and steps for the future, and to write him off at this point would be pretty silly. There were only 4 Bruins forwards that did not record a point last night, but a bunch of guys chipped in. Middlestat with the goal, Lysell with I believe it was a secondary assist on a goal. No, it was the primary assist on Casey Middlestat's goal. So, the Bruins seemingly have a new top line. If they can re-sign Geekie, Elias Lindholm, David Pastrnak, they're going to be looking to Pavel Zacha or Casey Middlestat, or perhaps even Matt Poitras to step into that second line center role next season. If Middlestat and Lysell can develop some chemistry, that would certainly benefit the Bruins. Fraser Minten with a top shelf beauty on Jacob Markstrom. Cole Koepke chipped in as well with his 10th goal of the season. These were all positive signs for the Boston Bruins. And again, as Pasta said, hopefully it's a sign of things to come or things that they can build on moving forward for next season. A lot of uncertainty as to what the roster will look like. We're going to spend a lot of time post regular season kind of breaking that down, who fits in, who should be kept around, who could maybe be or have a farewell. I mentioned only 4 forwards not recording a point. Only 1 defenseman did not record a point last night, and that was Mason Lohrei, who's arguably the most offensive defenseman in the lineup at the moment. He's near the bottom of the NHL in plus minus, but he was a +1 last night. 1 shot, 3 blocks, and a hit. Jeremy Swayman wasn't super busy, 21 shots, but 19 saves for a .905 save percentage to really raise his season average at this point. So a lot of positives for the Bruins last night. They did beat a team like the other night in Carolina, a team that is likely going to be in the playoffs. New Jersey hasn't quite booked their spot yet, but they have a very healthy lead over the New York Rangers, 10 points. So very unlikely that like New Jersey would have to lose out and Rangers would have to win out for that to happen. It's very unlikely. The Ottawa Senators clinched a spot. The Bruins, with the win, did jump ahead of the Philadelphia Flyers, although the Flyers do have 2 games in hand. So let's just briefly update the Tankathon here. I won't go through the whole process of running the simulator, but the Bruins with a point percentage of .462, just like minusculely ahead of Philadelphia, who is at .461. Flyers do have 2 games in hand, so chances are they could pass the Bruins. There's only 2 points separating them. Boston with 3 games remaining. Nashville, the next closest team, has 4 games remaining, so they can get a maximum of 72 points. So the Bruins, the best they can do at this point is finish 4th worst, which would give them decent odds. Right now, they're at 8.5% when it comes to getting the first overall pick. And let's just check their other pick odds here. So 8.5% for number 1, 8.6 for number 2, 24.45% chance of getting number 5, 44% chance of jumping down to number 6, and a 14.2% chance of getting 7th. So, I mean, every chance they can to move up would be a benefit to them. But even if they get, say, the 5th pick, they could still maybe get Anton Frundell, who could be a top line center in the NHL. Worst case scenario would be, 6th, 7th, and maybe getting a guy who could be a top 6 player, but maybe a year or 2 away. The further or the closer they finish to the bottom, the better chance they have of getting a high impact player and one who could come sooner than later. So that's the skinny on the Bruins from last night. Their next game is Thursday, I believe, when they will be hosting or visiting. I can't remember. Let me check the calendar here. Tomorrow night, they will be hosting Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks, one of just 4 teams worse than them in the NHL this season. If things hold as they do, they could get Michael Misa to join Connor Bedard, which would be ridiculous. We'll preview that game on tomorrow's podcast. But coming up, we'll discuss the Boston Bruins nominee for the Masterton Trophy. We'll touch on that here as the podcast continues.
Do you have trouble sleeping? If so, you're not alone. That used to be me, lacking rest, tossing and turning. I was late for meetings. I never felt like myself. That's until I found Bare Mattress. Bare Mattress and their sleep recovery technology helped me fall asleep faster as well as enjoy deeper sleeps. I felt like myself again, and you can too. Bare Mattress knows that every sleeper is different. That's why they have their sleep quiz on their website that finds you your perfect match. As a side sleeper, I matched with the Elite Hybrid mattress, and I've been telling everyone in my life they have to try Bare Mattress risk-free. You can sleep on your Bare Mattress up to 120 nights, and if you're not getting the best sleep of your life, you can get it refunded. They'll pick it up with absolutely no hassle. So go to bearmattress.com and use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout to get 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com. Use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
All right, it is Masterton Trophy nomination season. And this, of course, is selected by each chapter of the Professional Hockey Writers Association. Each team gets a nominee, and then they whittle it down to the top three. The Masterton is given to the player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. And the recipient or the nominee for the Boston Bruins this year is goaltender Joonas Korpisalo. And Joe Haggerty, who's the chair of the Boston chapter of the PHWA, shared that Joonas showed the kind of determination and perseverance consistent with the Masterton Trophy and bouncing back strongly this season with the Bruins. His sportsmanship and dedication to hockey have been evident throughout his 300-plus game NHL career in Columbus, LA, Ottawa, now Boston, and his consistency for the Bees this season was a noteworthy positive for a hockey team amidst a season of challenging transition. The 30-year-old was not very good at all with the Ottawa Senators last season. 3.27 goals against average, .890 save percentage. He was acquired with Mark Kastelik and a first-round pick, Dean Letourneau, in exchange for Linus Ullmark last June. And so far, he has 2.98 goals against average, .891 save percentage, slightly better in save percentage, but much better goals against average. And he also has a career high 3 shutouts in 23 starts this year. I mean, I can't disagree with this nomination at all. I, of course, did not have a say as not a member of the PHWA, but it's hard to think of anybody else. Morgan Geekie will likely get the 7th man award. Perhaps you could have thrown him in there as well. Maybe, yeah. I don't really know who else you could have thrown in there. He is probably the best choice at this point for the Bruins. And the winner of the Masterton Trophy is selected in a poll of all chapters of the PHWA. Danton Hayden, Nick Foligno, Jake DeBrusk, Kevin Miller are recipients of the nomination most recently for this team. What do you think? Was there a better selection than him? Could the Bruins voters have gone elsewhere? I'm not sure. I think that was a pretty solid bet for the PHWA Bruins chapter. Not quite sure that he'll be a finalist. Gabriel Landeskog has been out for months. He's Colorado's guy, and he is currently on a conditioning stint in the AHL. That's probably a solid bet. But, of course, we'll cover all that here as we get into NHL award season. For today, again, I think our boy Pasta should be in the conversation when it comes to Hart Trophy. He likely won't because of the fact the Bruins are out of the playoffs. They're back in action tomorrow night. We'll preview that game, bring you all the latest on the Boston Bruins, because that's what we do here on the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. For your second listen, check out NHL Game Night. This is a new podcast on the network, which breaks down every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Everydayers can find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. Apologies for not being around yesterday, but we will be back with a brand new episode tomorrow, because that's how we do it here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please do take care of yourselves, friends. Take care of each other, and we'll see you again next time.